You about to poop on me? She's trying to push her poop out like this. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. That's not funny, is it? Oh, my baby. Oh, I didn't mean to laugh. It's not funny, is it? Windy Pops is not funny. Okay. I can't believe I've had to wait 4 weeks to introduce your squishy little face. Yes, be prepared to hear a lot of mum voice. So squishy. So we are 4 weeks in. I'm gonna just come back a little bit to make myself a bit more comfortable. So we're 4 weeks in, and that wasn't intentional. If you guys have been watching me on Instagram, you'll know that we got readmitted back into hospital when she was 5 days old. So it was a really rocky start, a bit of a whirlwind. I will talk about that with you guys in a bit. Also, if I'm being truly honest, I didn't really want to come on here all hormonal like it's great, I love motherhood, I'm so tired. Literally, that was me just yesterday morning. Anyway, I've missed you guys. I have really missed you guys. But genuinely, it has been a whirlwind, and I'm actually quite glad that I took 4 weeks to just have a bit of a breather. I feel like because we went back into hospital, by the time we were back home, I think she was probably about 2 weeks old. So it's kind of been like we've only been home for 2 weeks, if that makes sense. I'm kind of trying to get into the swing of things. I'll be honest though, I'm not going to feel ashamed to say this. I don't enjoy the newborn stage. I know everyone's like, oh, you should be really thankful. Oh, don't wish it away. This is my second baby, and I kid you not, with Lila Rose, I still wouldn't go back. Don't get me wrong, I'm extremely grateful for the fact that we've had a baby, especially after 2 miscarriages. I really do not take it for granted at all. But sleepless nights, trying to learn the cues that literally make no sense because every cue seems to just look the same. I mean, I don't know if that's just me. This is my second baby. I thought I would literally have it by now. I don't. I have no idea what she's trying to tell me most of the time. I'm like, I know you're trying to tell me something, but it all looks the same. Anyway, you guys don't really want to see loads of my mug. You want to see this one, little squishies. So introducing little Laylee Grace. We did have a little think about whether we wanted it double-barreled, because obviously Lila Rose is double-barreled. But when it came to it, I just couldn't imagine introducing Lila Rose and Laylee Grace and people like remembering it. We've got Lila Rose and Laylee, but middle name is Grace. So her name means nightfall, and then I think Grace means blessing. So altogether it's like nightfall blessing, which is quite cool. If you guys have ever heard of the name Laylee, I'll be really intrigued, because to me, when you say it, it sounds like a name that should be quite common because it's so close to Layla, but no one seems to know it. I had never heard of it, neither had Rick. And that's kind of why we went for it. I think it's confused our family quite a lot because we've got Lila and Laylee, so everyone keeps getting a bit tongue-tied. But for us, I think because we've known her name for a good like 6-7 months, it just rolls off the tongue for us. So Lila Rose and Laylee, Lila and Laylee, Laylee and Lila. Whereas everyone else keeps going Lyle and Laylie. So if you guys haven't followed me on Instagram, then you won't know that we did get readmitted back into hospital when Laylee was 5 days old. We went from having a midwife appointment to immediately having to go straight into hospital. It was awful. They noticed that her chest was concaving in quite a lot while she was breathing, and immediately sent us straight back to hospital. So it was very stressful because we had only just got back home. I felt like we were just starting to get into that new family mode of a family of 4, and then suddenly it was like, you're gonna have to go straight to A&E right now. Anyway, we went straight into A&E. They fast-tracked her straight through to a ward where she got readmitted for, I don't know how long we were in there, 3 or 4 days I think it was. And they told us that she had a small collapse on one of her lungs, and also her heart murmur, which we knew she had at birth, was actually really substantial. So it wasn't just a small little heart murmur that can happen after having a C-section which just passes. It was a significant heart murmur that really needed to get looked at, and they basically wanted to investigate what was going on with her lung, if the heart and the lung were connected. It was all very scary, and then to just be away from Lila as well, I just missed her so much, and I just felt so guilty that this was the start of her having her baby sister around. So she had to have antibiotics through the IV, through the drip. It came back that the collapse on her lung was actually a chest infection, which is interesting because I was coughing for about 3 weeks before my C-section, like full on could not shift my cough, which I've never had that before. So she probably got it from me anyway. She has recently had a check and ultrasound on her chest for her heart murmur. So she basically has a tightened valve. The valve that pumps blood through to her lungs is slightly tightened, and it's just working extra hard to push blood through. At the moment it's on the mild spectrum, but it has to be monitored just in case it goes to moderate or more severe, and in those cases she would have to be referred to cardiology and it has to go further basically. So this guy was very good at explaining the whole spectrum of what could happen, but he was also very good at saying there are so many children that he has seen with this kind of heart murmur that go on to either grow out of it as their lungs start to expand as they start to get bigger, or they just have it forevermore and it never changes and it's absolutely fine. That was kind of good to know. There's like a light at the end of the tunnel where it could completely go. She might just grow out of it, which would be the best case scenario, which is what like I'm praying for, but also it could just stay the same and never affect her life, which is great. And in that case she would get yearly appointments where she gets looked at to make sure that nothing's changed, which is great. At least she's in the system, she's getting monitored. I'll admit her little squishy face does make it a lot more bearable though. Oh, I love her so much. Right, I'm gonna put her up here now because my arm is literally, you know when like you hold them in one position for too long and your arm just seizes up. Oh, that's some serious clicking. Anyway, let's talk about me now and my postpartum journey. So this time was just so different. The first time I think I was very overwhelmed because it was an emergency. It ended up as an emergency C-section, and it's my first time as well, and it was just, it felt like, I remember saying this in a different video, it felt like a baby was being brought out of a cupboard and this is your baby, because I expected to see her coming out. And then this time I was prepared. I knew it was going to be a C-section because that's what I wanted. I just knew what it was going to feel like. So this time when she got put on my chest, I just felt those emotions that I wanted to feel the first time. As soon as she was like shown to me, I was like burst into tears. I was like, is she okay? Like, is she healthy? And they said yeah, and I was like, oh my god, she's healthy, like she's fine. Because I think up until that point I genuinely believed that something wrong was going to happen, like something bad was going to happen. Because we've had previous miscarriages, I just never wanted to let myself believe that we were going to have a baby. That's the honest truth. Also, the other thing postpartum, the worst part of postpartum for me is the night sweats. And no, not even night sweats. The hot flashes, they're just awful. They come at like the most random times, and I'm not kidding. I am wet, like dripping with wet, and it feels like my skin is actually on fire. Apparently this is all hormonal and it can go on for like a good 6 to 8 weeks, which is, looking forward to that for the next couple of weeks. You right, my baby? Oh, my scrummy. Oh, my scrummy. She's literally like a little ball. Like, look at that. Her legs just stay in a little crumpled up ball. Don't they? She isn't mega awake. She's a very sleepy baby. She just likes to sleep, just not at night basically. And at night we've been getting those like witching hours of just like wind and excessive crying, and that's been really hard. That's probably been the hardest thing. So what tends to happen is Rick will do like the last feed, and then I'll do like last feed of the night, sorry, and then I'll do all the way through the night. And that just seems to work for us. And then he has a good stretch of sleep because he doesn't do well with broken sleep, and he wakes up with Lila Rose in the morning, and then I can just get a little bit extra time in bed. But I'm really hoping that at some point I can start to change how nocturnal she is. So what I'm trying to do is keep her awake for longer periods during the day, which is what I started doing yesterday, and last night was the best night we had. So I'm hoping I kind of cracked it, but at the same time, you feel like you've cracked it, you do the same thing the next day, and then it all goes to pot anyway, doesn't it? So I'm just trying to keep her awake on those awake times, like after her feed. I try and keep her awake just a little bit longer so that it tires her out more for bedtime. It just happened to work really nicely last night. She didn't go through a witching hour, so she had no fussiness in the evening, which has not happened for, it's got to be over a week. It's got to be it feels like a really long time, to be honest. It feels like she's been doing it for months and we've only had her 4 weeks. And then I've had to use a dummy, which is something that we never used with Lila Rose. I've always been reluctant to use a dummy. I just feel like I don't want them to be reliant on it. But I'll be very honest, with a second baby that has been quite difficult to calm down at some points, this has just been a lifesaver. I just think with a second baby, the dummy gives me a chance to have that kind of 5-10 minutes of peace while she's like settled, because it literally settles her immediately, and then I can like sort out Lila Rose, or I can sort out dinner. It's brilliant for helping out with her wind, but it's also for times like last night, for example, where it was 3 AM. I was literally could not keep my eyes open. I had just fed her, I think an hour before. I had had her upright for an hour because I was waiting for her to like stop being so squirmy and so windy, and it was getting to the point where I was like, I cannot hold you any longer, I am so tired. I put her down immediately, started screaming, waited for a little bit to see how well she would do and if she'd settle herself. Didn't happen, and then that's the time where the dummy goes in the mouth and it settles her straight away, especially if she's got wind and she's really uncomfortable. Hello little bobble, you're so bobbly. You've got such a little bobble head, didn't you? Oh, so tired. Do you want this one? The minute Lila Rose first saw her, she was smitten. She was so excited to see her and to meet her, so she came into the hospital with my mum and my dad to meet her, and she was just, it was almost like she had just been waiting for this moment to meet her. And she even fed her bottle as well with Daddy's help, which was just amazing. And ever since, she's just taken to her so well, but it's to the point where she literally gets in the way with everything. Like, she wants to be so overly helpful, and she's so smitten that she just smothers her. So I spend most of my time being like, okay, gentle, okay, careful, yeah, don't keep poking her in the face. Yeah, I know that you love her and she loves you very much, but she's literally, I've just spent 20 minutes trying to get her to sleep, and now you've just poked her in the face, and now she's awake again. I try to be very careful about not being like, no I can't, and no you can't do this. I'm very glad that she's like that. I think I'd prefer her to be like that than to hate me and have all the guilt of her hating me and just struggling to divide my attention. Like, I prefer what she's like, but it's really hard when you've literally just spent 30 minutes rocking a baby, going whoosh baby baby baby, whoosh baby baby, and then she comes along, pokes her in the face, and that's it. I've got to start all over again. But it's okay, we're doing fine. I mean, the novelty will probably wear off, but for now I'm very thankful that she's very helpful. Anyway, I've got to edit this video down because my god, I think I've been up here for over an hour. She's probably due another feed. She's actually due another feed, so I've literally been talking for over an hour. Oh my god, right, I'm gonna go and edit this. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so glad that I finally got to introduce her. Now it is on with the Christmas content. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I've got the stocking filler video, I've got what we've got Lila Rose. I'm not going to do what we've got Laylee because she's going to be 2 months old. There's not really a lot to get her. I really appreciate you guys just having the patience with me. All your messages over on Instagram, from literally the word go of what we've been through when we got readmitted back into hospital, and just in general, like, just helping me out with advice, because I genuinely, even though I'm a second time mum, I genuinely just winging it all. I really appreciate you guys so much, and yeah, see you guys in the next video. On with the Christmas content. Say bye. Bye. Bye.